afternoon, everyone. Welcome to MMAAP Talks, episode 6. Okay, so what is MMAAP? MMAAP is the Multimedia Arts Association of the Philippines. This is actually the first professional organization of multimedia arts in the Philippines, so bringing together all the forms of media into one association. So our talk today will be about effective website building. Okay. So our guest speaker for today is Rob Soliman. He is the managing director of Rocketship Designs, a creative agency focusing on graphic design and website design and development. So they have been servicing numerous international and local clients for the past 6 years. So please give a warm round of applause to our speaker, Mr. Robert Soliman.
Thank you, Hannah. So good afternoon, everyone. Before I start my webinar today, let me give you a brief background on what we do at Rocketship. So our company's name is Rocketship Design. We are a design studio specializing in graphic design, digital design, video, and motion graphics. For graphic design, we do corporate branding. These are some of our sample works. We also do marketing materials, basically anything and everything that is printed. So that, as you can see, we focus on corporate clients. We do product catalogs, trifold brochures, annual reports, marketing sales kits, restaurant menus, etc. We also do product packaging design, and we also do space design. For space design, we focus on the walls of conference rooms of offices. So we don't do interior design. This is more of design of walls, which complement the interior design of the space. For web design and development, we do brochure type websites, just like this one. And another example is this one for Filigree, that this is a property of Philinvest. We also do e-commerce websites, just like this one for Nippon Aesthetic. So basically online store. And we actually saw a surge of demand for e-commerce websites this pandemic season. And aside from e-commerce websites, we do online systems, just like for this one, for Ergo Studio Express. This is actually an online interior design service. One of our recent clients who migrated their services online because of the pandemic. So imagine interior design, but online. So that's ergox.net. So these are the brands we've worked with, and some of them we're still working with currently. What can I say? I think it's a great experience to have worked with and to be working with different brands from different industries. You get to work with different people of all personalities. It really stretches your capabilities, not only as a designer and entrepreneur, but as a person as well. It's really a roller coaster ride, if I may say, when you work with different companies of varying industries. Different personalities talaga per client. So yeah, that's a preview about Rocketship. Let's begin. So just to let you know, this webinar is geared towards people who are in the marketing or advertising industry, and design students as well. I guess most of us here are in this industry. If not, having interest in web design and design in general is okay too. So yeah, just saying that you'll find it easier to digest all the information that will be presented here today if you have at least some background on advertising and design. So I hope you enjoy and gain new knowledge in today's discussions. So how do you actually communicate a message visually? Usually we communicate by speaking, like what I'm doing right now. But how do you translate your words into something people can see? Let's be specific. How do you communicate your message, product, or business through an online platform, like a website? But who needs a website? Do you need a website? Have you asked yourself that? Why do you need a website? Why not a Facebook page? Why not an Instagram account? Why do you need a website? If you're a business, if you have a business, even a small or micro business, and you're looking for other businesses to buy your products or services, then you need a website. So that's a B2B type of business. Businesses looking for other businesses. Why? Because purchasing or procurement departments of other businesses look for suppliers in this online directory called Google. So they all search on Google for new suppliers to acquire for their company. And you want to be listed there. How? I'll tell you later in a bit. Um, but if your target market includes class A and B people, for example, Pizza Hut, I'm sure their target market goes as far as class C. But they also target class A and B, which is why they have a website that allows customers who have the means, like a computer or laptop, to order online. And then, well, of course, others can still go to their restaurants to buy their food. And if you are selling a product online and if your target market includes class A and B, then you need a website. Otherwise, if you're selling something online and your target market is focused on class C and D, maybe Lazada, Shopee, or Facebook Marketplace will work better for you. So at least now you know if you really need a website or not. Does your client need a website or not? So if they meet these classifications, then they need a website or you need a website. But what makes a website effective? If you ask me, it's the good use of typography. Now, I know a lot of you are familiar with this word, but for the benefit of those who still aren't, what is typography, you ask? Typography is everywhere we look. It's in the books we read, on the websites we visit, even in everyday life, on the street signs, jeepney signs, and product packaging. But what exactly is typography? Simply put, typography is the appearance of text. It can also refer to the art of working with text, something you probably do all the time if you create documents or presentations for work or yourself. First, let's learn about the most common types of fonts and what you need to know about them. Serif fonts have these little strokes called serifs attached to the main parts of the letter. Serifs are more common in print publications because those little strokes at the end of those letters help the eyes travel across a line of text on a page, especially if the lines are long. So those little serifs or strokes guides our eyes. Sans serif fonts don't have those strokes, hence the name, which is French for without serif. So sans serif is considered to be more clean and modern type of font and is also better to read on digital screens. That's why when you read text on your phone or computer, everything is in sans serif because it's good for digital screens. And then we have display fonts. Display fonts come in different styles like script, black letter, and all caps. So okay, now that I know about serif and sans serif, you may ask, how do I use these fonts to communicate my message effectively? The principle is actually very simple. Less is more. Use only one or two fonts per project. If you need more contrast, try repeating one of your fonts in a different size, weight, or style. This trick is practically foolproof for creating interesting combinations that just work. Now that you know the basics of typography, we now move to layout for you to communicate your message even more effectively. Okay, so we have some layout tips right here. So tip number one is to have a clear purpose. What do you want your website to do? Do you want to sell coffee, your coffee product to restaurants or establishments who will use them? Then make your product photo the biggest to entice your potential customers and have an obvious option in the form of a button for them to click to contact you. See the inquire button on the upper right hand side? I know you did because we designed this layout in such a way that your eyes will look at the coffee packaging first, then notice that button after. Do you want people to do something on your website? Like for ergox.net, our client wants the users to take the style quiz for them to get to know their style first before registering and talking to one of their interior designers. Thus, it's obvious. You see the take the quiz button twice on this screen. One here and another one here. Now, we all know that real estate is something you don't purchase out of boredom. It's important. It's an important decision. In fact, to many, it's a life event. Thus, in this real estate website, we want the users to get to know more about the property first. Check out the features and amenities first before trying out to contact the company for an inquiry. So with these three examples, I hope you can see clearly that everything is based on how the user's eyes glide through your digital canvas, which is your screens. Good design is knowing which part of your website is seen first and making sure that you put the most important thing on that red part where all the eyes look. That means good design is invisible. Your customers should not even know that you drank 5 cups of coffee and spent sleepless nights just to show them a page on how great your product is and for them to be able to click on that add to cart button easily. They shouldn't notice that you tried so hard. It should all be natural to them. Okay, tip number 2 is good design and layout, which has these sub items: proximity, white space, alignment, contrast, and repetition. Proximity is all about using visual space to show relationship to your content. All, all you have to do is to have similar items grouped together. Groups that are not related to each other should be separated to visually emphasize the lack of relationship. White space is very important. It is a very important type of every composition. Now, this doesn't mean literal white space like this. No, no, no. Um, it just means negative space, like the spaces between your content, between lines, and even the spaces in the outer margins. White space help you define and separate different sections, like this. White space made you read the quote first and look at the sun illustration next. Imagine if they were sticking next to each other, they would be both screaming for your brain's attention. It will be really hard to read that quote, right? So next is alignment. It is something you deal with all the time. Whenever you type an email or create a document, the text is automatically aligned. When aligning objects yourself, it could be quite tricky. The most important thing is to be consistent. It might help to imagining your content arranged into a grid. Notice how there's an invisible line centering each image to the text. Each grouping is also evenly spaced and aligned with equal-sized margins. Without consistent alignment, your work will start to feel disorganized and you won't be able to communicate your message well. Contrast, on the other hand, simply means one item is different from the other. Contrast can help you do many things. For example, catch the reader's eye, create emphasis, or call out to something important. Contrast is also associated to visual hierarchy. Again, we've talked about visual hierarchy a few minutes ago, and it's very simple. Just decide which elements you want your readers to notice first. Then make them stand out. So basically, ano ba yung importante? What's the most important thing in your layout? And then just make them bigger, bolder, larger. And that's about it. Repetition. Repetition is a reminder that every project should have a consistent look and feel. That means you have to repeat or echo the style of certain elements. Example, if you have a specific color palette, look for ways to carry it through. If you have chosen a certain header style, use it every time you have a header. And don't keep changing the style. You just repeat and repeat that style so that you can subconsciously tell your reader, hey, this is what the header looks like. It's this black text at the top part of my layout. And you can subconsciously tell them that this is the header. And basically, we're done with the sub items. Tip number 3 is you should have a fast loading website. Now, did you know that 47% of website visitors expect a web page to load in 2 seconds or less? And you say you're patient? I don't think so. 40% will not wait for more than 3 seconds for a web page to load before leaving the site. So if it doesn't load, they leave the website and browse something else. Next, your website should be easy to find. If you have a cleaning business, for example, you want your website to show first. When someone Googles for cleaning services, you want your website to come up number 1, right? But how do you do that? Leverage on tools like Google My Business. By building your Google My Business profile, you get your business to appear on Google search results when someone searches for keywords related to your product or service. So Google doesn't pay me for this, but you can do that. You can access google.com/business after the webinar. If you have a small business, even a micro business, you can visit up on Google and it would come up on the search results after, I think, a few days. So just remember this link and visit it after the webinar. And there you have it. Now that you know how to create an effective website through good layout and typography, you may ask, okay, how do I create a current and updated look on my website? Are there any trends that we usually follow? So this brings us to the web design trends list of 2020. So with this, I have actually some examples ready. Let me bring it up. There. So currently, the website design trends of 2020 are dark mode, plenty of white space, the use of gradients and luminous color schemes, oversized type, 3D elements, and layers and floating elements. So let me show you some concrete examples, some actual examples of some websites that use these styles. I'm just going to load my web browser. There you go. So the first one is dark mode. So when we talk about dark mode, it's basically making the interface dark for for our eyes to relax, and basically the screen would be easier for our eyes and it won't be too bright, right? So Apple actually does the dark mode well. You can see that as you scroll down, they've used the dark mode style here on iPhone SE landing page, but it also mixes with other how do you call this, elements or backgrounds. This one, it suddenly turns into a full screen video, and then if you scroll down further, it goes white. But then if you scroll down even further, it returns to dark mode. There, turns to black, and then I guess it turns different color again. So there, white, and then black. Comes in black, white, and red, and then now it's dark again until you scroll down to the bottom of the website. This is another example of dark mode. It's not that dark, but it's easier on the eyes. So dark mode is really in the trend nowadays, not only in websites, but more on user interface, like on apps, right? Most of our apps nowadays have dark mode, so that it's easier to the eyes. And the next one is plenty of white space. Basically, white space again provides a visual break for our eyes. It's also for our eyes, like dark mode. It also allows the user to digest the information well. So with white space, you get to feed the user with bite-sized pieces of information that their brains can process one at a time. So here it says we care about your electronic devices, and that's about it. You have a read more and our services call to action button. And then if you scroll further down, you see the steps of their process. And then it's separated to this section with the use of color and white space. So there's a lot of space here. And then there's a lot of space in between each section, if you notice. So white space is used to separate each section from each other and information as well. In this web layout, you see a lot of white space as well. So it also separates each section from and group of information from the other. So you see, white space is really essential in website design. Number 3 is the use of gradients and luminous color schemes. So that's a big trend right now. It's like this one. So backgrounds uses gradients that appear to be luminous or glowing. And another example is this one. And if you can see, even in the icons and the illustrations, there's you see the use of gradients, and the items basically appear as if they're glowing, diba? So it creates a very surreal effect. Like, parang techie look na rin, diba? So you can see that on this website as well. The next one is oversized type. I guess for this one, this has been a trend for a long time now. But it's still prevailing up to now. So it's like this one. There's a big uh, header here in the focal point area of the website. Big text. Also this one, knowledge and confidence in our domain. And then if you scroll down, the text is just really big and stands out and pops out of from the background. And then this is actually quite interesting. 3D elements. I've actually seen this, and if you ask yourself, yeah, you may have seen 3D elements on websites nowadays, right? So just like this one, a driving school. Look at their packages. Each of the packages have labels for A, B, C, D, and then C, E, and D, E, and all of those are in 3D. And it really breaks the boxiness of the layout. Parang it's kind of boring if it's still in 2D, right? The 3D actually enhances the look and feel. For this one, obviously this is in 3D, the mock-up.
Um, Actually, the letters are.
And another bottle here, and then ito rin. So it's also in 3D. I think we have another one here. So this is for a 3D printing product. So it's proper to use 3D here. So they have a lot of 3D objects here and illustrations that are in 3D. So it really enhances the look and feel and gives the website a very modern look and feel. And then finally, layers and floating elements. This is also a very interesting trend that I've seen in recently and on website. So when you talk about layers, it's like this. Let me show you this image. So you see the guy is sitting on the floor, but in front of him, there's this circle with an icon, but behind him is this orange circle, but behind that there's that accent circle. So there's layers into it. Also for this girl, the reason the her head pops out of the circle, so it creates the illusion that she's inside, but the circle is behind her, and then there's another layer in front of her. Another application of the layers is, I think I saw that somewhere here. Let me look for the layers. Where is that? Here, there. So we have the interface or the screenshot of the web app, and then there's small snippets of the screenshot here, and then you have elements popping out of the phone in front of the phone, diba? So also this screenshot is also pops out of this background here at the bottom, and then that is seen through the use of shadows at the bottom. So shadows is actually a trend as well. It's part of the layers and floating elements. So if you put in shadows, see, underneath, it creates the illusion of depth. So that's a good example. And this is another example. Two pictures on top of each other. Parang if you do this in an earlier time, it would look like as if there was a mistake, right? But it's actually intentional nowadays. So so basically that's it. Those are the web trends of 2020. Again, just sum up and repeat. Dark mode, plenty of white space, gradients, luminous color schemes, oversized type, 3D elements, and layers and floating elements. So it's very interesting. So now that you know that, you may ask yourself the question, how do I integrate all of these into a website? Okay, so I recommend that you use WordPress. If you have a design or technical some technical know-how, I think you will find WordPress manageable for you to use to create websites. You can also create websites through online third-party services like Wix or Shopify. But if you compute the costs, they actually cost a bit more. And with WordPress, you can also get the technology of Wix. Wix kasi is it's it's popular because it has this drag and drop interface, right? But with WordPress, you can actually invest in a premium theme like this one. Probably the most famous and high grossing themes right now for WordPress is called Elementor. With a visual builder built into Elementor, your website creating experience becomes just like Wix. Drag and drop elements, drag and drop elements to resize, type in the text that you want, and you want to see is basically what you see is what you get. There are tons of options to tick and customize to ensure that you get the layout and design that you want for your website. The visual builder also has these ready-made modules, just like for that one. Let me just rewind this a bit and just pause it here. So as you see, it has ready-made modules, and whatever you want, you just click and drag to your layout, and that's it. For this example, the user drag or the website designer drag a form to the layout, and then after dragging it there, you have a contact form instantly. It gives you all of these options on the left side to tweak the module and customize it further to your needs or liking. So you can get this by doing a one-time payment investment for a premium theme. So before actually hindi naman uso to. use paid themes. Or yeah, meron na rin, but it's more popular to customize your own layouts using free themes. But now it's more practical to just invest a one-time payment on a premium theme and just build your website from that. So, and there you have it. Just always remember that if you have a good design background and you have a know-how on the current design trends and you know the right platform to use, you'll be on your way to creating amazing websites for you or your clients. And